Hello, welcome to the October update of the Drone Harmony platform. My name is David, I'm VP Product at Drone Harmony, and I will describe some of the features that we've added to the Drone Harmony web application in the month of October. So the main tool that we've added in the month of October is the OpenStreetMaps import tool. You have access to this import tool here on the left side, on the left menu. You can see the tooltip helping you recognize this tool. So by selecting the building import tool, you're prompted with this information sheet that tells you that we will be importing now data, outlines of buildings and structures, and in some cases also heights of buildings from the OpenStreetMaps database. So we press on continue, and we're presented with this kind of rectangle that we can adjust to fit the area in which we want to perform the import. So I'll just adjust. And you see that if I make it too big, it will give me a remark that this area is too big. So I'll just adjust it to have a size that's compatible and press on continue. And once the import is complete, I get this message buildings import, and I can close this message. So you see that automatically we have imported the outlines of the buildings and structures behind the scene of this particular area. Now, you might notice that some of the building don't have a height, like those 0-meter ones, and some do have a height. So depending on whether the OpenStreetMaps information contains the height of the buildings or not, Drone Harmony will either import this information or not. So let's switch over to 3D scene view, and we will see exactly what this means. So you see that 3 of the buildings have height information in them, and the other buildings don't, or perhaps 4, this green one as well down here. So if we want to see the metadata of the building as it appears in the OpenStreetMaps database, we can click on the building and you see OSM metadata as an additional option that appears here. We can click on this and you start seeing all of the information about the metadata of this specific building, and you see that the height information is actually available for this building. In some cases, the height information will not be readily available, but you have still some information about the height of the building. For example, the number of levels. So one can derive a simple estimate of the height of this building, perhaps 3 or 3.5 meters times this number will be a good estimate of the actual height of the building. So this is the OSM building import. And of course, those are now Drone Harmony scene structures that one can use as one can use any other Drone Harmony scene structure. One can adjust them, one can set their heights, and so on and so forth. So all of these options are available. And of course, we can interact with the scene in any of the views that are relevant for this particular type of data in Drone Harmony. So that's one important tool that we've added, and we hope that this will allow many of our users who are performing inspections and mapping missions in these kind of urban environments to facilitate the data import step for them in Drone Harmony. So the second feature that we've added is related to how our filters work. So if you go over here to the right-hand side, we have 2 menus that we can open. One of them is the filters, one of them is the edit mission. So in the filters area, we have now additional information for the different scenes that are available in the state currently. In particular, we have names. So those names actually also come from the OpenStreetMaps database. In case the name of the building is available in the database, it will actually be populated automatically. In other cases, a generic name is given, but we can edit the name and change it to something more meaningful for us. For example, something like that, and its name will appear here. Of course, the name will also appear when we plan missions to allow us to recognize what structure we're actually applying our mission to. So filters have changed. We can, of course, still, as before, add and remove the visibility of structures, but now we also have some additional features. Now, another feature of the filters is it now has an additional layer, which is the layer of sites. At the moment, we have a single site loaded in the scene. You can see this by centering, and by centering, you always center at all the sites that are available. In this case, the centering function brings us back to this area here, which means this is the only site loaded in the state. But let's load additional sites and see what happens. So if we go over here to the menu and go to load site, you see that now we have the option of selecting actually more than one site to load. So previously we were only able to load one site at a time and create sites in addition, but now we have the option of loading as many sites as we like and working on all of these sites in parallel. So let's do so. So let's load, for example, this facility patrol new and building complex facade and maybe building terrain inspection, those three sites. We can also choose to either clear the current state, so delete all of the information we currently have in the state, or we can choose to add the current sites to the current state. So let me choose that option. Load latest. And by doing so, you see that we have loaded actually all of the sites. We have this site in London that we've just created, and we have those three additional sites here. Now, as you know, when clicking on the site, we can interact with the site on the level of site. So we can show it on the map in 3D, remove it from the state, or save it to the cloud. Now, newly, we can also easily zoom into a site by double clicking on the site, and we immediately zoom into its map view centered exactly at that site. Okay, let's go all the way back, center view. That will give us a view of all the loaded sites. And now let's take a look at the filters again. So you see that now our sites are appearing here in the filter as well. So this is the additional level in the menu. In the filters menu. So if I hover over building complex with new facades, you see that the corresponding site on the map is shown in a different way, in a smaller circle with a dotted line around it. That tells me what site I'm actually hovering over. So I can open this site, and here I have already access to the primitives within the site. I can look at its areas, and I can look at its plans in this case. In other cases, there might be additional primitives within. For example, in this one, we also have terrains. So you see that I have a terrain here. And if I click on any of these primitives, I'm zoomed, I'm immediately redirected in the map to that area. So this is the additional level of grouping that we now have in our filters. So we've seen that we can now load several sites and work in several sites simultaneously. We can load several sites, and we can also import buildings using the OSM tool to create scenes in a much faster way than it was possible before, in case we're looking at, let's say, some urban environment where the OSM data will be rich and up to date. So the next thing I'd like to show you is some improvements that we've made to the 3D interface. So let's center on this specific site here in Switzerland, and I'll switch over to 3D scene. So we've made a few changes in the 3D scene. Two of the changes are small. One thing is we show you the north direction for you to be able to orient the scene in your mind where is north. And also we added an information about how large is each cell in this grid cell. So in this case, it's 54.2 meters, so that you have an idea of the scale of this scene. And another thing that we've done is we've added quick navigation here in the top left corner. So here we're now in the site called building complex with new facade, but we can easily switch to any of the other sites. For example, we can switch to facility patrol new. And you see that when we switch to new site, we are at the 3D scene of that specific site. So those are some improvements in the 3D view that makes it easier to work simultaneously with several scenes. So in addition, we've added a few new improvements to the editing menu. This too is now grouped in various different ways that make it easy to work with different sites at the same time. And in addition to that, we've added a number of smaller features, like we've added tooltips for some of the tools here, and so on. So this concludes my presentation for this particular update, and we will see you in the next update.